What's going on, y'all? I got another one for you. Hope you're doing well. And if you aren't, we'll all get through it. And better days are on the horizon. Today, I'm going to be talking about a concept that I was thinking about a little over a year ago. I've been always thinking about this, but I kind of got in the mood to actually put all these thoughts into writing about, consciousness, ego death, kind of finding your purpose through introspective thoughts. I want to kind of put this out there into the world and see if any of this nonsense makes sense to any of y'all. So I'm gonna read what I wrote. Like I said, I wrote this about a year and a half ago. Haven't really delved back into it too deeply, but kind of share this with you guys. Pardon my basic handwriting. I'm not the best writer. I'm getting better though, doing more of it, getting more into it. But let's see if any of this makes any sense to y'all. So the first part of this is the first. I have these 5 different rooms that you kind of go through in life, and some of them are kind of interchangeable. You can kind of go in between, and some of them you kind of have to go through one time. But the first room is consciousness. And what I wrote is, this is the room where we're all born in. We start to provide see, I'm not even sure what I even wrote there. I'll kind of edit that out. We start to think or start to create who we are in the environments we inhabit. Most will stay in this room until they feel confident in their identity to share it with others. Children around 5 or 6 leave this room, but some stay longer. That was like the first concept of the whole consciousness room. Then the following room you go into is the ego room. This room is where people who now have an identity share it with others in order to build further onto it. Having ego is important to protect yourself from those who want to define who you are in relation to who the world perceives you as. But too much time in this room can lead to someone to rely on your false self of identity while neglecting to focus on building the foundations of themselves. Someone can spend most of their lives in this room because it's comfortable in here. You can experience all types of emotions: love, happiness, jealousy, anger, while not having to fully live life by the true values, because ego makes their true intentions while only harming themselves. The longer you spend here, the longer you will need to spend time in the next room. Hopefully that makes sense. The ego room, where it's important to be in there, but the longer you spend time in there, you kind of have to do a lot of deconstructing, which leads to the next room, which is called the ego death room. Once someone wants to move forward in their lives beyond themselves, they will need to strip down their own egos to fully accept themselves as they are. Ego death room is the removal of one's sense of self-importance over others. You will accept that nothing in life is earned, thereby nothing you received is deserved. Everything in your life is predetermined before you're even born, so putting any emphasis on what you have done or accomplished is ultimately meaningless simply because your actions were not fully your own. So taking ownership of them for selfish reasons is pointless. Understanding your lot in life has very little to nothing to do with you as a person will free you from the constraints of your own ego. Stripping yourself to the bare will reveal your true self for all to see and judge. But most importantly, you will give it will give you the clarity of your past actions. It will arm you with the tools to avoid them in the future. The downside of spending most of your life in the ego room is that the person you become while in there overtakes the person you were before, leaving you with no true identity left. That was kind of my concept of the ego death room. And like I said in there, if you spend so much time in the ego room kind of building up this false self of yourself, you're going to spend a lot of time in the ego death room. And so many people even avoid this room to make themselves feel better. But once you leave that room, that leads into the next room, which is the room of introspective or introspection. This room is where reflection and learning can happen uninterrupted. The knowledge gained while in here is the most beneficial when the ego is stripped and redefined. Once the foundation of oneself is realized in the ego death room, then you can accept all of the world's truths, without harming the image of your true self. Note that it is possible to access this room without going through the ego death, going to death of one's ego, but by doing so, you will not be able to fully digest the information you will be receiving. Knowledge received without losing your ego will only feed it more. Someone can stay in this room learning for most of their lives, here reflecting and receiving, but they won't find their belonging here. It's very comfortable in here, and you can find content staying for a long period of time. But moving on to the next room will be the beginning of your true life moving forward. So like introspection room is pretty much where you kind of learn who you are, what the true knowledge of the world is, and hopefully when you get to that room, you strip down your ego to where you're not stuck in your head being like, this is who I am, this is who I think I am, and if anybody tells me I'm not this person, that's an attack on who I actually believe that I am. Once you go into this room with a stripped down ego, it kind of makes it easier for you to digest the truths of the world, which leads to the last room in this little journal I got here, which is the room of purpose. This half room is exposed to the elements. That is exposed to the elements is the purpose room. Once you feel ready to move on from introspectiveness, because you feel like something is missing, and that thing is your joy. You can only fully experience joy once you have lived in your purpose. You can only realize your purpose after going through all the rooms in order without skipping any. Those who skip the ego death room to access the introspective room will think that they have found their purpose and return back to their egos, thinking that they have found their true purpose. Kind of redundant there. But their egos blind them from their true selves, thus keeping them and holding them back from keeping them beholden to their false selves. Your purpose cannot be a goal someone else gives you or influenced by others, or it can be influenced by others. It's only obtained by finding your true self and gaining the tools to access your purpose, then finding joy. So the whole point of the purpose room is to find your joy. Honestly, find your reason that you get up in the morning every single day. That's pretty much the purpose room. And that was pretty much it. I wrote down these concepts a while ago, and I even kind of went more into depth with these concepts further here, and I will maybe make a video about this. But I'm trying to keep this one a little bit shorter, a little less than 20 minutes. But that was a concept I came up with a while ago, and obviously nothing is original. I know a lot of people have said things like that, but kind of just going off of your consciousness and your ego. I've noticed a lot of people in today's world are kind of operating solely off of their egos. And the knowledge that I've gotten from your ego is pretty much it's pretty much what you think you are, essentially. I don't want to get too philosophical about it. It's pretty much you're allowing the thoughts of who you are to kind of cloud your judgment. And someone, say you're 50 pounds overweight or whatever, and your ego is telling you that you're perfectly healthy, or not even perfectly healthy, that the 50 pounds of extra weight that you're carrying isn't going to have any long-term effects, and you're going to be living a fully fulfilled, and you're going to be living like a maximum life. And people are telling you that, yeah, sure, you are healthy at your weight. You're not going to cause a whole lot of issues, like major issues in the short term. There might be some long term. It all depends on the rest of your genetics and other factors of your lifestyle. But if you lose those 50 pounds, you will be your body will be firing on all cylinders a lot easier if you didn't have those 50 pounds on there. Not saying that you're not healthy, but you could be healthier. And if someone's operating off their ego, that would be like a personal attack to them, because they were already healthy, and losing that weight would just be superficial. It would just be kind of giving into people's egos and giving into people's like perception of what is beautiful, and it'll feel like a personal attack. And a lot of people who have their egos hurt and egos bruised will attack those people who actually have the courage or the audacity to go against what they think they are, right? Because a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about themselves, and that's nothing inherently wrong with that. But once you kind of go out to reality, once you start operating with different people and get into different situations outside of your head, all of a sudden your ego gets checked, and your ego comes into question. Well, all of a sudden you aren't who you think that you are, because other people aren't giving you that validation, or you're not getting enough of it to continue to operate the way that you are. And that is definitely epidemic right now. We are definitely in the ego epidemic, where so many people, like I've been saying, have been faking it till they make it, and they don't like it when people kind of contradict what they think they are. A lot of people are just kind of making themselves really, really high up and then bringing themselves down, versus having the kind of a more conservative view of themselves and then bringing themselves up. That was kind of the way I went through life. I didn't have a whole lot of people stroking my ego or making me feel like I was bigger and better than anybody else. So I kind of had to build up my own confidence as I got older, to where now I kind of have a really good understanding of who I am, in accordance to everybody else, in accordance to nature. How much people care about me, how people feel about me, etc., etc. So when I went through, the ego death room, and that was like a very, very easy thing for me, because my ego was just like a little shield, a little armor, like very, very paper thin, to protect myself from people who want to tell me that I'm not who I say I am, or not who I believe I am. Not through my thoughts, but through other people's actions. The reactions I get from people, the actions or inactions I get from people. It can only be done for someone who actually matters, who actually cares, who people care about, people who have visceral emotions towards. So many people tried avoiding me, or don't want to say the truth around me, or just different things that are kind of, which would contradict their reality. And that it shows how powerful I am. And I had to go to the ego death room to kind of get to that point. Because if I didn't, I would have continued to believe what people were telling me. Certain people were telling me. There are people who will tell you the truth. It's not a whole lot of, unfortunately, not a whole lot of those people. But I had to go through that introspectiveness, and to find my purpose and to find my joy in life, because so many people won't do that. So many people aren't even doing that for themselves, but how do you expect them to do that for others? So That is something that I'm trying to get a good grip on, grasp the concept of ego and how it is, a virus that can kind of slowly kill you over time if you don't get a good grasp on it and figure out that, hey, who I think I am and who I actually am in reality, if they aren't kind of somewhat in balance of each other, that they don't somewhat mirror each other, it can lead to a whole lot of unnecessary suffering in your life. And yeah, it can cause you to kind of throw your whole life away, truly. See on a daily basis. So that is something I kind of wanted to share with you guys. I got a few other things I wrote down I want to kind of get off my chest and kind of get out here. This is kind of what this is for me. It's very therapeutic. It's very cathartic, me doing these videos, especially nowadays where so many people are just not in the best mind space. I'm talking about being in a hellish realm and spiritual warfare and all that, which is true. But at the end of the day, this is just all people that's getting all their venom out. We been living in these societies that have kind of been suppressing people's true feelings for each other, suppressing our animal nature, our animalistic thoughts. And now that we're all kind of a little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little bit smarter, we understand that long term this isn't going to be sustainable. So we kind of have to get our true feelings out. And yeah, the truth hurts. So as they say, and a lot of what's going on right now is very true. It might not be very kind, it might be very cruel, but it is very true, and it's causing a lot of people a lot of suffering. But a lot of suffering is necessary for growth and for evolution. I'm gonna make a video. It's probably my next video about evolving as a species and how some people have evolved further than others. And when people see someone who is more evolved than they are, they need to destroy that person, because then it kind of shows their faults and shows up in their insecurities. So that's kind of the world that we live in, and we just kind of have to just survive it the best way we know how, because this is for our best. This is for the betterment of the human race, the human species, because Mother Nature is not happy about what we're doing, and Father Time is taking people out left and right. So we definitely need to be living in accordance to nature, in accordance to ourselves, our true selves, not who we think we are. We're all kind of stuck in our heads because of our egos. A lot of it is because of our egos, because we want to be in these echo chambers to keep our thoughts of ourselves safe, versus actually kind of looking in the mirror and going to war with ourselves to make sure that we are who we think we are, not who we claim to be. So yeah, that is pretty much my whole spiel right there, is just kind of give you my thoughts, like I said a few years ago, about what I wrote down, and kind of hopefully that is still relevant in today's world for you guys, and keep giving you more of these little nuggets that I have. Hopefully they're giving you some type of wisdom, or at least some type of entertainment. Keep those intrusive negative thoughts at bay. You need them, but at the same time, things aren't as bad as people make them out to be. They're just bad up here, up in your head. But in reality, things aren't terrible. We are still living in the best time in human history, because things are very true, they're very honest. And that's what you need to grow and to evolve. You need that truth, you need that honesty. You need it pretty straight, pretty blunt. So that's what we're getting right now, and I am very grateful for it overall. I know it's been very painful getting to this point in my life, but that's how evolving is. Truly, it's a very painful process. But once you get through it, and once you really get to the other side of it, man, you will be very, very grateful for all the opportunities and suffering that people have put in front of you, because it has made you who you are. So don't give up. Continue doing what you're doing, no matter where you are in life, because it has to get better. It just has to. So that's all I got for y'all right now. Hope y'all take it easy, and catch you on the next one.